Hey, 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 Travel Brats. Happy Travel Brat Tuesday. You've got Soph and Nat, and we have our guest, Mark McDevitt, back. We are going to talk today about the cities outside of Boston that are worth visiting. There are a lot of them. We're not going to cover all of them, but we just wanted to hit a couple spots. And Soph, would you like to tell the guests that are actually watching this video where each of us are?
Yes, hey Travel Brats, and welcome back, Mark. It's so good to see you. We are coming to you from all the cool spots, some of our favorites. I'm coming to you from the beautiful sunset in Plymouth Harbor, and Nat's coming to you from, I believe, Salem.
Yes, Salem.
Ooh, you little witch. Just kidding. You little witch. And Mark is coming from, Mark, where are you again?
Yes.
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah. I just wanted to hear him say it like that. And we're having a great time in our separate places. And we are going to, guys, to just, like Nat said, jump into each of these fun spots. I'm going to start with the place that so many people, I think between 1 and 2 million, come every October only for all the fun Halloweeny, witchy fall colors and everything. Salem, Massachusetts. It's like a 1 hour and 25-minute drive outside of Boston.
Yep. Basically, when you're in Salem, there's several different things you can go see. A lot of movie tours, obviously, but I'll hit a couple of basic things here. You can see the Gedney House, one of Salem's oldest timber frame homes. The Salem Jail, just down the block, an historic atmosphere. The Broad Street Cemetery, a peaceful haunting walk through early grave sites. Witch House, the former home of Judge Corwin from the witch trials. The Ropes Mansion, Hocus Pocus filming site, which was Allison's house and beautiful gardens. When my wife and I were there, anything Hocus Pocus related was definitely on the list of things to go see. So, highly recommend those as well. Salem Witch Museum. Uh, Basically, you can end there. It's a 5 to 10 minute walk from the Ropes Mansion and right across from the Salem Common. This museum offers exhibits and a dramatic presentation on the 1960 or 1692 trials, a strong educational finale, and then Max and Danny's house as well. 25-minute walk south or a short drive or Uber. You could visit before the walking tour, especially if you're arriving by car or just after the museum, if you still have some energy from the day. Late afternoon, my wife and I did this experience. It was absolutely amazing. It's called the Fame of Salem Schooner Cruise. Very interactive. They let you raise the sails on the sailboat, and even gave everybody an opportunity to don a pirate hat and steer the boat. And they just basically guided you like, hey, just aim it towards there. So my wife and I both got to steer the schooner, and drinks are served on board. It was a great time.
That sounds really, really fun. And other good eats in Salem are the Village Tavern, Longboards, and O'Neill's.
Very nice. Another road trip idea, Lexington and Concord. We talked earlier about different hotels downtown Boston, but one place that we typically stay, which is close to my family and kind of central to all of the stuff outside of Boston, would be a place called Woburn. It's about a 10 or 15 minute trip outside of the city, just north, but it gives you a good central location where you could pop into Boston or go to these other places that we're talking about. But again, Lexington and Concord, Revolutionary War site, multiple stops by car, not Uber friendly just because there are multiple stops. So it's not like you're going to want to keep your Uber guy sitting in the parking lot waiting for you to like see something for 5 minutes and then jump back in. But it's definitely it's drivable on your own, but it's definitely something worth seeing. You can also go to Walden Pond. Obviously, it's great for history lovers and nature lovers, and anybody that just loves the history of the story of Walden Pond. You can
Very
also go down to Cape Cod, or where I am in my photo here, Martha's Vineyard. It is a 90-minute drive. Plenty of cool little towns on the vineyard and also on the way down, especially Hyannisport. Uh, like I said, it takes about 90 minutes to get there. While we were there, I ended up staying with a cousin of mine who lives down near the Cape, and he was a great tour guide. Um, Little things you wouldn't expect. You have to plan ahead of time. You got to figure out what time you want your boat to leave because you got to park your car, get on a little boat, and then it takes you across the water to the vineyard, and then you got to plan your trip back. If you miss the last boat out for the evening, what are you going to do? There's limited places to stay on there. Um, so definitely something to schedule your ferry rides ahead of time and know what you're doing in that regard. But once you're out there on the island, it's a great, great trip.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Oh, the other note I have for if you are on your way back to Boston from Cape Cod, the Sandwich Boardwalk is a really fun place to walk, see the marsh, and then you can end up on the beach at the end of the boardwalk and you can catch the
Yep.
sunset even at the end of the day. It's just
Matter of fact, that's where my cousin lives, is in Sandwich. So
that's awesome.
yeah, we actually had dinner and ate there on the water, and it was very close to the Kennedy compound as well. So yeah, that was a great experience down there.
Oh, how cool. And Mark, what about Gloucestershire and Rockport?
Gloucester,
Gloucester.
Gloucester and Rockport, known to be one of the top fishing ports in the country. Great stop to go see. Obviously, going to get great fresh seafood. Really cool area to walk around, especially in Rockport. Parking's kind of difficult, but you can do it. You can find parking. It's just, you might have to drive around for a little bit. It's also home to the Fisherman Memorial with the names of those inscribed lost at sea, getting the fish that we love.
Hmm.
And Rockport also, like I said, has a bunch of shops and everything near Gloucester, and it's a great thing to look into. Another place just north of that, even further, is Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Great seaport town for dinner, one night out if you're heading towards Maine, and great views of the water, and again, awesome seafood.
Wow.
Another one going south, if you want to see my favorite team, Patriots, drive down to Foxborough. You can visit training camp. You can tour their museum that they have there. Go to Patriots Place, which has got a ton of different places to go eat. But obviously, if you're going during game day, it's going to be a hassle. And but yeah, definitely would recommend any football fan go take a look down at Patriots Way, the Patriots Place. Sorry.
Well, that sounds super fun, Mark. And I feel like there's something for everybody there, whether you're a wine lover or you're a, Patriots lover, and you just want to take a road trip. You got your
Yep.
car. It's beautiful weather. Just go see all the things there are to see outside Boston and get more of those natural nature views and other things besides city. I did do some of that when I was there. I had a friend whose family was out in Plymouth, and so we did Cape Cod in Plymouth. I just think Plymouth is like charming. And they have a lot of things to do for like a day, maybe. You could spend like a day, 2 days there. We had breakfast at the cutest little Cafe Nicole right on the main street in Plymouth. You can see the Mayflower replica, and it has a not a fake Plymouth Rock, but you can see Plymouth Rock, which is one of the
It's,
stops that they stopped at. Mark thinks it's stupid, but
I
I
wouldn't
thought it
say
was
it's stupid. I would just not. I would tempt your expectations of what you're wanting to see.
yes,
It's
actually
it's
that's so
literally a
true.
rock in the water. So
That's so true. Because you think you're gonna see this like monumental rock
yeah.
and like the pilgrims landed here. And it's like you look down this like hole with a gate around it and there's like a tiny little rock in the sand and everybody's like taking selfies with it. So you're like, oh, there it is.
There's a rock.
Yeah, and I was also told again, I don't know enough information to properly debunk or verify this myth or fact, but apparently the pilgrims landed actually somewhere else first. And then the term that or the rock that got coined Plymouth Rock is actually not the original first spot they like put their feet on. But anyway, it's still kind of cool. It's on the main street there. The Mayflower's right there. So you can take a tour of the Mayflower. You can just take a selfie with Plymouth Rock. And then a good spot for lunch is Tavern on the Wharf. They have good lobster rolls. Lobster rolls. You're right by or right on the water, and you can just see the beautiful sunset there too if you eat there for dinner. Try a Shimmer by the Sea drink there. Those were really fun and good. And then you can check out the Forefathers Monument as well. They've got all these cute little snack shops. You know how those like waterside towns are. And we ate cupcakes at Cupcake Charlie's. You can walk around. I really wanted to get something that had like Plymouth on it for my husband, and then something that had Cape Cod on it for me. So they have these cute little stores if you want to get like a shirt or sweatshirt. One of my favorites is Soft as a Grape, and then they have another one, Fidel's. And then you can see the first church established in Plymouth, which I actually thought was beautiful. They have a super cute little mail post office that I mailed some postcards out of. It's really old and beautiful with, the old post office always have the marble and whatnot. So again, Plymouth is just really cute. They have a long walkway in the harbor that you can walk out on and watch the sunset. So we did that, and it's like a 30-minute walk out and back, which is what you can kind of see behind me if you see this like road for those of you that are watching. And then we ate dinner again in that same area at 71 West. It's a bit of a nicer restaurant and it has beautiful views of the water and the sunset through their big glass windows. So again, just a cute, fun, either romantic day, family friend. It's just a super fun romantic day with your husband or your boyfriend, or you can go with family, and the kids have plenty of things to do with the snacks and the shops and the Mayflower. Or you can bring a girlfriend like I did and have just a fun girls' day.
So there's this town called Manchester, New Hampshire. I don't know if you've ever been there, Mark. This When I went to Boston last year, it was actually because I was going to Manchester, New Hampshire, because my boyfriend Matt, who we've had on previously, was in a show. He was doing Jersey Boys there at a theater called the Palace Theater. Gorgeous theater. It's a historical theater. And I really liked Manchester. There's some, I would say, like some darker corners of that town slash
Mhm.
city. It depends on where you're walking. There are some areas that are just like really lovely, really beautiful, and then some areas that are maybe not as nice to be walking around in. But the theater is a huge draw for Manchester. I don't personally know what else is really there. There's something called the Zimmerman House, which some people talked about. There's some, again, just general New England history that's in a place like Manchester, New Hampshire. But I was there to see Matt in shows, and I basically saw his show every night that I was there. And then we did a day in Boston. And for me, that was the most exciting thing was, okay, I'm going to go see your show, but we're going to Boston, you know? So that was the main thing with that. But I would say that if you are in Boston and you want some really good theater, Boston itself has some really, really great theater. It's kind of like if you're in Chicago, New York City, Boston, you're going to get some high quality professional theater. Of course, New York has Broadway, but Manchester, only an hour outside of Boston, has some really nice aspects to it as far as just like I liked a lot of the restaurants we went to, so there's some good eating, but also if you just want good theater and you don't necessarily want to pay Broadway prices and you're in the Boston area, then hit up Manchester, go to the Palace Theater. They always have really, really great shows and their prices are pretty good.
That reminded me too when you're talking about New Hampshire. During the fall season, people will go up to New England just to look at the leaves. So
Mm.
you can drive up north of Boston, go into Vermont, New Hampshire, or even just northern Massachusetts, and the fall foliage is amazing to just drive around and just look at.
Oh
So
yeah.
that in mind as well.
I felt so lucky that Matt happened to be doing a show in New Hampshire in October.
You saw it, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I got so lucky. I told my mom that I was gonna go up to see the show, and she just said, "Oh, New England in the fall. You're
Yep,
so lucky." She was so
yep.
excited for me. And I had only ever been to Cape Cod before. I had a friend who lived in Cape Cod for a couple years, and I visited her, but this was over 10 years ago. And I flew into Logan Airport, but I didn't get to explore Boston. And I think it was probably in like a yucky time of year that I went. So this was amazing just
Yep,
to walk around Manchester and see the beautiful colors. I mean, yeah, New England in the fall, there really is nothing like it.
true.
And, I think that's funny because it was something I wished we went a little later, but we did kind of beat a lot of the crowds where trees were starting to change, but we were there so early in the fall that there'd be one tree that was like gorgeous red colors and the rest would be like green around it. But even me, like not knowing super beautiful fall foliage, being in Florida for the last like 7 years, I was like, look, I'll take this and I'll come back for more. This is even good. Natalie, the play information is actually a really good point. If you guys are in Boston, like Natalie said, go to Manchester, see some of these other smaller theaters because I think some of those productions can just be so special, and just as special as some of these bigger productions. But if you are in Boston only, we didn't mention this in our previous episode. You've got Boston Opera House. You've got Wang Theater, Wilbur Theater, Schubert Theater, American Repertory Theater, Cultural Majestic Theater, Charles Playhouse, Coolidge Corner Theater. I mean, Boston Center for the Arts, it's endless. So if you are one of those people that's like, I want to go to a city and just see shows, musicals, plays, anything, there's so much. Concerts, there's so much to do. So look that up. And like Mark said, schedule all this early, whether you're in Boston or whether you're outside of Boston, because it's just as busy if not more, in places like Salem and Plymouth and other Martha's Vineyard in the fall than it is, or as it is in Boston. And Natalie, the Manchester by the Sea, is a movie, and I think yes, I had wondered. It's a really sad movie, guys. If you don't like horribly sad movies, I don't recommend this. But the guy like did get some really big award for acting in this movie. But I think it takes place in Manchester, the Manchester
Well,
Natalie's talking about.
it's actually a different place. So
It
Manchester,
is?
yeah, Manchester by the Sea is different than Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay,
You
just
crushed her
kidding.
dreams.
I
You
know. I'm
Kind of
crushed her
so
just
goals.
crushed my
sorry.
hopes and dreams. I
'Cause
was like, is this where that really sad movie's from?
Manchester by the Sea is actually in Massachusetts. And I thought that too. I looked it up, but I was like, I'm going to Manchester, New Hampshire. Is that where this movie? Because it's Casey Affleck who was in that movie. And I remember watching it. And yes, it is a very sad, dark film. But yeah, Manchester by the Sea is actually the name of a place. Manchester by the Sea is the name of this town in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad we got that clarified. I got a little excited for a second, but and the last thing I'll say about Salem before I forget is um Mark has talked about booking ahead of time, but there are a lot of things that because of vandalism, because of over tourism and just crowded streets, crowded museums, Salem, a lot of the things that you used to be able to just go see, you have to make a reservation now. And I've run into that before. Like we couldn't get into the Witch Museum and a lot of even the cemeteries because of vandalism, they're gated off now. And they were like, oh, you had to schedule 24 hours in advance your ticket to get in here, so you can't anymore. So just make sure if you're planning a trip to Salem, look all that stuff up on the internet and kind of create your itinerary and make sure you have tickets or reservations for things. So you don't want to be disappointed and get there and not be able to get in
And
anywhere.
also, there was one cemetery that my wife and I went to where we drove to go see it. Just be respectful of other people. People live in that area. And when you're parking your car to go walk into a cemetery, make sure you're in an actual parking spot and not somebody's driveway or blocking their car. So always keep in mind, it's a very small town, a lot of one-way streets to get in and out of there, but just be respectful of other people because it is their home and that's you're violating their area if you're parking in the wrong place.
That's another thing. We parked at like a gas station and walked a while, but at least it was nice. We like got a drink, parked there. We didn't have to worry about the car or like being in front of somebody's house or so no one could get down the street. They have those tiny
Yeah.
little streets and those cute houses. The cool thing though is on that long walk to like downtown Salem, we actually got to just take pictures in front of so many of the houses because they have like some of them go. I mean, guys, if you're a Halloween person, even if you're not, I think one house I took a picture in front of had like literally 100 pumpkins and just everything, skeletons hanging, ghosts. It was like the coolest photo op ever. So, you can have fun with that if you're a picture person.
And
So yeah.
speaking of houses, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the houses on Martha's Vineyard. There's an entire section called the gingerbread houses. If you have not seen them, I wanted to make it my background today, but I didn't. I'm sorry, I should have. But look up the gingerbread houses, absolutely amazing. And people actually live in these houses during the year, but they look like little gingerbread houses in all different colors and vibrant. You can walk. It's almost like a gingerbread house community. And these people pay a bunch of money to live there. And tourists just walk through and just take pictures of their houses and almost walk through their yards and see stuff, but it's an amazing sight to see.
Oh, that's so cute, Mark. Did you have any other really cool experiences on Martha's Vineyard? Because it's just like, it's such a neat place.
Yes. So before you go to Martha's Vineyard, one thing you might want to do is watch the movie Jaws because a lot of that was filmed there. They have this thing that's actually called the Jaws Bridge, where there's literally signs that say no jumping off the bridge, but they don't police it. Nobody cares. And it's like, I don't want to exaggerate it, but I'll probably say it's probably 10 or 15 feet above the water. And then you've got the ledge, which is probably another 3 or 4 feet high. So you're looking at maybe 13 feet that you're standing on a very thin ledge, and then you jump into the water. Where in the movie there were sharks. Kids and adults were lined up for days to jump off this bridge. And I swore to my cousin and his kids that I was going to do it. And then I got out there, and I'm a very tall person. I'm 6'5". And so if the ledge is 13 feet, my head is now 20 feet above the water. And I'm looking down, I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm not doing this. But I I could say that I chickened out on jumping off the Jaws Bridge, whereas my 10-year-old cousins, kids, they were just taken multiple trips off the side of it, but it was definitely an experience to see. But you can actually just go in the water there. There's a little small beach area where you can swim in the water where the Jaws movie took place, and while you're watching your family or friends actually jump off the bridge.
You know
So
what's so funny is speaking of sharks, when I came to Boston and to Plymouth and Cape Cod, and I was with a friend of mine who's a marine biologist, and so she was down to go to the Great White Shark Conservatory in Cape Cod. So we went, and they have all this information about. I'm not a huge marine biology person, and I think like the scary sharks, like I think it's funny, but I see what it's done, like the media to people. I think it's funny they were jumping off the bridge, but I learned a lot about sharks. I actually thought it was interesting. I was expecting it to be more of like an aquarium, and it was really just a museum, but it was still kind of fun to see and to learn a little bit about the marine life. They do have a lot of sharks off that coast that they do a lot of research with and tagging, which is kind of interesting if anybody who's listening here is interested in that. And again, anybody who's interested too in like more religious history, you have all those churches. We also stopped by and saw like a Quaker house in Sandwich, which because we were just looking for stuff to just pop by really quick and see on our way home. I mean, a lady still lived there, and there was a cemetery in the back, and it was like beautiful, and the trees and the fall air. So there's so much to see, even if you have extra time and you just kind of want to wander in all of these north cities, and smaller towns. And yeah, I think that kind of concludes our fun talks about just outside of Boston.
nice.
Travel Brats, thank you so much for joining us. Nat, thank you again. And Mark, we were so happy to have you again to talk about all this. And we will catch you guys on the next Travel Brat Tuesday.
Have a good one.
Bye.